with Red True Crime. And if you looked at the description, we're going to talk about the Karmelo Anthony indictment again, but we're going to talk about the comments that I've received since I went on yesterday about this. So let's go back over it really quickly. So as of yesterday, Karmelo Anthony has been indicted for first-degree murder in the case of Austin Metcalf. This, for those of you who don't remember, this happened back in April in Frisco, Texas. There was an altercation between Karmelo Anthony and Austin Metcalf. And in this altercation, Karmelo Anthony pulled out a knife and stabbed Austin Metcalf in the chest. Now, since this has started and been going on since April, there's been, he didn't kill him with a knife, he killed him with a cleat sharpener. Karmelo was being bullied by Austin Metcalf, so he felt threatened, and therefore he did this. It's self-defense. Karmelo Anthony is a psychopath. That's why he did this. I mean, there's a lot of things being said, and there's been a lot of misinformation. There's been a lot of he said, and he said, she said, and everything else. So it's interesting because, also 2 days ago, I commented on a thread on Facebook by the Real Big Draco, where she just put out there that he's been indicted for first-degree murder, and people were just going crazy in the comments. And I tried to correct some misinformation, and I caught hell for that. I did my video last night. Now I'm catching hell for my take on the video. So let's just go over these one by one. Because I've been getting these comments all day. So we'll go to the oldest. I did make the comment that, Texas doesn't really have first-degree murder. They have murder, which is a first-degree felony. But someone commented saying they do have first-degree murder. That is what his indictment was for. You're making a YouTube video with completely false information. And then, they said, I even heard crime of passion. That's totally out of the realm of even being close. Do you know what that even is? Nobody threatened this murderer either, not his life. And the boys didn't walk up on him. I'm only speaking facts. And yes, Karmelo, from everything I've seen, plus his actions, he's a bad person and a killer. You have false information on even what happened. He wasn't being bullied, and only Austin went up to him. His brother didn't. Karmelo wasn't being bullied. His family spent $500,000 on cars and a house, not his legal fund, and went on all this. Hello, Kim and Stephen. Okay. So Lucian4980 is the person who left that comment. Now, the family did go out and did a press conference about these allegations, about where the money they were receiving, where it was going, that they bought a house, bought cars, bought all these things. They're saying they didn't even have access to this money at that time. So at that point, they didn't. And even the CEO of the Give, Send, Go even said, no, they have not withdrawn any money from this yet. So they could not have spent it on a car and houses and whatnot. They did pay for security. They did move. And I don't blame them for any of that, because at the time they were getting death threats. So if they spent that money on security and for another place to live, I don't blame them on that. But the CEO of Give, Send, Go and the family said, no, we have not been able to withdraw any of that money as of yet. So that covers that. Hello, everybody that's joining. So again, this live is about the comments I've received from the live I did yesterday. So let's see. Somebody said, you are way off on this. Holmison said he is going to prison for the rest of his natural life, and rightly so. Karmelo Anthony is a murderer. No two ways about it. He wasn't bullied. He wasn't physically assaulted in any way. It is not a case of self-defense. Karmelo placed a large kitchen knife in his bag the night before the track meet. The whole cleat sharpener thing is a completely bogus lie that people on his side keep falsely promoting on social media. He had every intention of putting himself in a situation in which he could use the knife. One young man, not two, made a poor decision, and he deserves far more than just life in prison for it. That was from Holmison. That was 7 hours ago. Hello, everybody. So they have never stated what knife was used to kill Austin Metcalf. Not that I've seen. I mean, if they have stated it, I haven't seen it. And I'm gonna stick to my guns here. Yes, two people made a bad decision. Austin approaching Karmelo, that was not his place to do that. He should have gone to an adult, a teacher, whatever, and had them address Karmelo, not Austin himself. But what started what, we don't know. We only have what the witnesses said in that place. And witnesses are saying knife. Other people are saying it was a cleat sharpener. Other people are saying knife. Let's see. Yeah, I'm not even going to talk about that one. Indicted for capital murder, just like he deserved. And then someone said I was pretty shit at this because I can't even get the basic facts right. So I'd like to know what they mean by the basic facts. And then Newark Guy 38 said, I'm sorry, you're not even close. The law doesn't care about how he felt. He was pushed by one person, not two. If he is found innocent, any NFL played tackled could have killed 7/8 people, and most NBA, NHL players would be dead due to precedent. Teach your kids to control their emotions or send them to jail yourself. Okay, that's an interesting take. Okay, I'm going to say this again. I don't feel that Karmelo Anthony, how can I put this? I don't think he's a monster. I think he has poor impulse control, as most young men at that age do. I don't feel him stabbing Austin Metcalf was a reciprocal action. I think he went overboard. I think he should have not done any of that. I think they should have just shoved each other and called it a day. But no, he stabbed him. So for me, we do not know. We, the people, we, the public, do not know why Karmelo put a knife in his backpack the night before. We don't know. One thing that was coming back and forth was, oh, it was public property. It was not school property. No, it was school property. Okay, that football stadium was built for the school district. So intent comes into play. He came to that event with a knife in the bag. The question is why? They're saying he didn't know Austin Metcalf and his twin brother. They didn't know them. And then people keep saying, well, the Metcalf twins were known bullies. Okay, show the evidence of that. We've not seen that. So what's going on here? Why are they attacking each other? Why did Karmelo feel antsy with a knife? I mean, what is going on here? Because again, not seeing any evidence showing that Karmelo is a psychopath. So what happened there? Why did he take that knife? And then the Newark Guy also said he doesn't deserve a shot at life. He took someone else's life. He's lucky they don't take his. Let's see. Oh, yeah, this has been my favorite. Clash 8386. Love this comment. You should concentrate on making your husband happy if he's still around. Okay, let me address that one. I don't have a husband. And it's not because he left me, and it's not because I divorced him or he divorced me. It's because he died. So thank you, Clash 8386, for bringing that back up. My husband died almost 3 years ago. Car accident. He had a seizure, wrapped the car around a tree. I've talked about this at length in many different videos I've talked about that I have on here. So, yeah. No, I can't make, I could make him happy. I could go get his ashes and put him here and say, look, this is him. I'm making him happy. No, he died. It is what it is. Let's see. Karmelo, not a bad person. What the? That's from Kaylin7126. I don't know Karmelo. So I'd like to think he's not a bad person and he just made a bad decision. But at the same time, he came into that place with a knife. So why did he do that? That's the question. And then someone says, MK84 boom, let's leave race out of this. Karmelo killed another person. He wasn't assaulted. He wasn't being picked on. He was simply asked to leave the tent area to go back to his own team's tent. Nothing more. He didn't like being asked to leave. Words were exchanged. He retrieved a knife from his bag and stabbed another person in the heart. It's not about race. It's about right and wrong. He was wrong for being under the wrong tent and refusing to leave. He was wrong for bringing a weapon to an athletic event. And he was certainly wrong for killing another human being. I cannot agree more with that sentiment right there. Right there. That's exactly what I'm trying to say. Let's leave race out of this. I've been saying that from the beginning. Karmelo killed another person. Karmelo wasn't assaulted. He wasn't being picked on. He was simply asked to leave. These are facts here. I can agree with this completely. Okay, that is my stance on this. Karmelo was wrong for killing somebody else. Karmelo is wrong for killing somebody because they asked him to leave. He overreacted. He overdid. There was just no it just wasn't. How can I put this? One person may have shoved you, but you don't stab the other person. That is just not equal. So MK84 boom, I agree with you completely. That is my entire stance on this. You just put it way more elegant than I did. Because it's not about race. People keep bringing race into this. It's not about race. It's about the fact that you've got a kid who has overstepped and stabbed somebody and now they're dead. So let's go to some other comments here. Okay, and then somebody posted the statute in Texas does not have a second degree murder option. It's either charged with first degree or manslaughter, and obviously they think it's not manslaughter. So yeah, I would agree with that. Because yes, they went with first degree murder. But if it gets figured out or they decide that it wasn't intentional, because here's the thing, this is the thing, intent is key. Did he just intend to kill somebody or was he going after Austin? How can he intend to kill Austin if he didn't know Austin? Why did he have the knife? Because the reasoning why he had the knife on him is going to determine whether or not it was intent or not. That is what I'm talking about. Because if he was there to protect himself, using it to protect himself, for what reason, if they can prove that, that's where it's going to get pled down to manslaughter. But if he took the knife to go kill somebody, then there's the intent part, which is then first degree, and which means he's going to go to jail for the rest of his life. So let's see. Let's get to the next one. Now, someone did say, let's see here. Where did it go? Okay. Someone did say there was a video of him literally stomping someone's head in the middle of a basketball game, and they said that sometimes people just suck. I have not seen this video of Karmelo doing this to somebody during a basketball game. I actually did look for it. I didn't see it. So if anybody has that, please send that to me because I'd like to see it. Because that could go to definitely his behavior. Someone said that they hope he gets shivved. That's a bit much. So someone said, this is Gerald Vasseur 4470. What will probably end up happening is they'll drop the capital and he'll sign for time. That way he'll have a chance for parole somewhere in his lifetime. If he's found guilty of capital murder, he'll never see the light of day. That's life without parole, being he was carrying a concealed weapon on school grounds and not for the first time. He's already committing the felony when he stabbed that kid. Taking it to a jury trial is a crapshoot. Ask anybody that's ever went to one. I don't see him being convicted on a capital charge, but just regular murder or maybe second degree is absolute. So here's the thing. They've already taken the death penalty off the table because he committed this crime under the age of 18. They did say he could get 30 years with the chance of parole. So that's what they're looking at. He's not going to get life. He's not going to get the death penalty, but he will get, the most 30 years with the chance at parole. That's what they did say. The parole is still an option for him. And then Jarrett's vid 669 said, I spoke for 25 minutes, said a whole lot of nothing. That is your opinion, Jarrett. I said a lot of things. But it is what it is. Everybody's got an opinion here. Let's see. Let's see. Now, someone did say that they did show the video, which I've yet to find. Now, I've seen it, but I can't find the whole thing, where they just show that, words are being said. No, there's no shoving, but there's stabbing. So I have to look at that for myself. So those are some of the comments I've got. Someone did say he's going to get his ass took in prison. MAGA. Okay, on that one. Okay, so here's my thing. We're still talking about a 17-year-old boy that committed an adult crime. Should he be charged as an adult? Yes, I do believe he should be charged as an adult. Does he need to be given the death penalty? I don't believe in that. I do believe in it. I don't believe it in this case because he's not a serial killer. He's not a child molester. He's not a rapist. He did kill someone. If it's found out that he intentionally wanted to kill somebody, then yes, give him the death penalty, give him life, whatever. But right now it stands until we know what the intent is. If there was intent, I'm gonna stay on the fence on that. Um, as I keep stating, nobody wins in this situation. Nobody does because Austin Metcalf is never coming back. Okay, Lenny, what is your name? I put my glasses on. Lenny Hondo. Taking a weapon to school doesn't show intent for that. That's the question. Because, here's my thing. From what I'm hearing, if it was any other time frame, I would have said yes, it does. But from what I'm hearing from the youth of today, having a weapon on you for protection is not unusual. My kids graduated high school in 2020 and 2023. And they're telling me that they knew plenty of students that had a small blade or something on them that they literally kept on them for protection. Wasn't that they were going to kill somebody with it, but they had protection. So until we know size, type of knife that Carmelo had on him, it's hard to say. If it was a kitchen knife, that's a little bit different. If it was one of those, like my daughter has a big key that flips out into a knife. So I don't know. Like I said, a lot of it will depend on if he was known to have a knife on him at all times, or if he specifically put a knife in his bag for this event. That shows intent. We don't know. Big enough to penetrate his heart. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely big enough to penetrate. I mean, there's a few, I mean, not so much big enough, but more sharp enough. That's the thing because you can have a 4-inch blade, which is about like that, and that would be enough to penetrate your heart. So I don't know. Like there was that case in Florida where the OnlyFans model killed her boyfriend because she stabbed him in the shoulder with a steak knife, and that killed him. That actually ended up affecting his heart, and that killed him. So I don't know enough about knives to say it would have been this or that. I don't know because I mean the heart's on the left side of the body. You got to get through bone. That's more like force and sharpness to get through all that. So I don't know. Like I said, I would love to know what type of weapon they said did this because that's going to speak, in my opinion, a lot to what he was trying to do. Because if it's just a standard kitchen knife, then yeah, that sounds like he had intent. But if it's something he just had a blade on him, again, there's a lot of boys carry knives on them. I don't know why, but they do. I mean, my husband always kept a knife on him. He had a Swiss Army knife. They had a blade on there. I don't know. So, like I said, it just depends on what type of knife it is. And again, if people knew he had a knife on him all the time, that kind of negates intent. But if he just specifically took a knife to that event for that day, that changes the story. That sounds more like intent, like he intended to hurt somebody. But without knowing what his behavior was, if he kept this on him all the time, or if he took it specifically for this event, I don't know. Like I said, they have yet to say this. But all Austin keeps saying is self defense. Not Austin, but Carmelo keeps saying self defense. So um, until more evidence comes out, which we may not see any more evidence until the actual trial, which could be another year or 2 years down the road before that actually happens. But Carmelo Anthony has to live with the fact that he killed someone. Now, if this doesn't bother this kid, that speaks to a whole other issue going on there, a whole other psychopathy with him. Because if he doesn't feel any type of remorse for taking this boy's life, That's something right there. I mean, I don't care if the kid was bullying you. You don't want to kill somebody. If you take in someone's life, that speaks volumes to me, about the type of person you are, you know, because that's somebody who could be a hitman, to take someone's life without thinking about it, that type of thing. That's a lot. That says a lot. And yeah, I don't know. I mean, this has been crazy how much this case is brought up, trying to be brought up about race, trying to be brought up about bullying, about the right to defend yourself. I mean, there's just so much going on with this case. And I mean, there is castle doctrine, there is stand your ground. These are things are evident. But did Austin Metcalf present a side to this that made you think, oh my God, I'm going to die right now and I have to stab him? I don't believe so. People keep saying both Austin and his twin brother were attacking Karmelo, and then they're saying no, only Austin was there. His twin brother Hunter was off, was further away. Even Hunter has said he wasn't standing right there. He was, bleachers away and saw, the stabbing. So, again, until the evidence presented, there is clear cut evidence because, again, from what I understand, the video that's been people have viewed, it's enough to bring the indictment to first degree murder. But he keeps claiming it was self defense. I don't know. That is for the jury to decide. That is for not really for us here in the media world, in social media to decide, you know. But we can have opinions, and my opinion is it's hard to say because again, the reasoning why he had that knife in his bag will tell me a lot. Because like I said, if he carried a knife in his bag all the time, it was more of a weapon of opportunity. But if he specifically put a knife in his bag for that event, that screams intent, which screams to first degree murder. So only time will tell on that one. But I like to think that kid made a bad choice and he's not an evil person. I really would hate to think that of him. But I would like to know that's the thing I would like to know. Did he keep a knife in the bag all the time or did he just bring it for that event? That's what I would like to know. Because from what I understand, most kids around that age are carrying knives on them for protection. So intent, not intent. Who knows? Okay, well, this is Rebecca with Red True Crime. Thank you for those of you that have returned to this channel to listen to this. And if you're new, welcome again. Thank you. And if you have not subscribed, please do so because that when I cover missing person cases, those will those help get the algorithm out and let people know somebody's missing and might know something. And I do have a new missing person case I do an update on, but I'm waiting on some more information to come out before I speak on it because somebody has been found and it has not ended well. And it goes to some other ongoing shooting cases that have happened in the High Point area. So, okay, well, I'm going to hop off here, but thank you again for the support and you guys have a great evening. And if you have any other comments, please send them my way. I will address them, because I'm not shy when it comes to comments. Please say what you feel because everybody has an opinion, and I will address it if it's something I need to address. So be weird, be rude, be safe, as I always say. Bye, everybody.